Is Halloween H20 the first ever horror legacy sequel?
I love the way this man thinks.
Hi guys, my name is Barry and welcome back to the channel. Legacy horror sequels are everywhere right now. It's the kind of trend that we're getting in horror. But what actually makes something a legacy horror sequel? Not every sequel that comes out decades later counts. There's a formula to it. If you take Psycho 2, for example, that's a direct sequel to the first movie. So even though it came out like 23 years after the original, it wouldn't be classed as a legacy sequel because it doesn't follow that formula.
There's a formula to it. A very simple formula!
I would say that there's some core points that define a legacy sequel, such as a sequel made many years after the original after countless sequels, a sequel that brings back original actors playing their same iconic roles, a sequel that has a story that's designed to reconnect with the most beloved parts of the original, one that often ignores or rewrites previous sequels to reset the story, one that balances nostalgia with a fresh direction for new audiences, and a sequel that often passes the torch to a younger cast while keeping the legacy characters in focus. Now let's look at what makes Halloween H20 a legacy sequel. It was released in 1998 at the height of the post-Scream slasher revival. Horror franchises were still doing the business as usual in terms of horror sequels, and at this point there was still a lot of them. Legacy sequels weren't a thing yet, and in fact the name legacy sequel wasn't even a name yet. H20's key legacy sequel traits are Jamie Lee Curtis returning as Laurie Strode after 20 years. And that is 20 years in the timeline, not 20 years in real life. The movie ignores Halloween 3 to 6, only continuing from Halloween 2.
You told me yourself you watched him burn.
H20 gives Laurie a fresh starting point, a new life, a new name, living in California. It uses nostalgia to hook fans with the flashbacks and characters like Dr. Loomis and Marion. And it also manages to introduce a new generation of characters like Laurie's son and his friends, and they're all equally important throughout the story. At this point in 1998, no other major studio and any other franchise had ever tried to pull this off before by ignoring previous sequels, numerous sequels, and reset from a different starting point. And not only that, they've not attempted to bring back actors from that starting point back into it again, especially someone as big as Jamie Lee Curtis.
Well, hey, it's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare.
So without realising it, Halloween H20 set the blueprint for modern horror legacy sequels such as Halloween from 2018, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2022, Candyman, etc, etc. Halloween H20 proved that audiences would accept a selective timeline. It showed studios that there was money to be made in nostalgia-driven horror, and it became a reference point for future legacy sequels without even realising it themselves. I think Scream 5 intentionally muddied the waters when it came to legacy sequels because in that movie they make it abundantly clear that the legacy sequels exist within that universe, within that world. Therefore, they change the rules and make their own type of sequel, a requel.
Oh my God, he's making a requel. A what?
They've got similar rules to a legacy sequel, but they tend not to omit anything that came before it, like the Scream franchise. But with anything, those rules are not set in stone, thankfully. So the terms and the rules of legacy sequels and requels have evolved over time, especially since Scream 5. But make no mistake, guys, Halloween H20 was the blueprint.
Care to join us?
I can't. I'm having my nipples pierced.
Of course, you can say what you want about Halloween H20. You can call it a copy of Scream, even though that was the style of horror movies back in the late 90s. But as generic as some may say Halloween H20 was, it certainly was the trailblazer for the legacy horror sequels that we have today.
Comb your hair.
But before we finish up, guys, I am saying that Halloween H20 is the very first horror legacy sequel, and that's from what I've looked into. Do you know though if there is any other horror movies before Halloween H20 that does something identical to what H20 attempted to do? And if there is one, then let me know down below. You can't say Psycho 2, you can't say movies like that that don't have the rules of the Legacy sequel. So let me know down below what movie does that. And if it doesn't, then we have to go with Halloween H20. But anyway, guys, as always, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you soon.
I'll be right back.
What are you waiting for, huh?
Coming to get you, Barbara.
Ever played Skin the Cat?
Someone's in the back seat!